Hey everyone, and welcome back to the channel. So today I want to make this very basic beginner's guide to Once Human. This is for all the new players that haven't played the game yet and you want to get into it but you don't know where to start from. So I hope this guide helps you out, and also if you are a current player you might find some useful things as well. Now the reason I'm making this basic beginner's guide is because I just reached level 50, which is the max level of the game, and I haven't experienced late game yet. So I can't talk about it, but what I can talk about is my experience with leveling and reaching level 50. Now keep in mind, everything I say will not be in a specific order. So let's go ahead and get started. Now when you first launch the game, you will have an option between different servers. You will see that you have PvE and PvP servers. And when you go to choose a server, keep in mind that every server has a phase. Some servers are earlier in the phase. As you can see, this one says day 5 over here, and there's another server that's day 9. So I would say choose a server with the earliest phase so you can experience the game more. Now you're gonna make your character, and obviously you're gonna go through a tutorial phase, and once you're done with the tutorial, the game is gonna drop you off into the world. Now when it comes to choosing the right land where you want to build your house, it doesn't really matter because you can move your house pretty easy. And this is a PvE server, so no one can destroy your house or anything like that, but on a PvP server is a little bit different. On a PvP server, you gotta set up defenses and everything because people can destroy your things. And I believe they can loot your stuff as well. Something I want to talk about really quick is the controls. So obviously you have WASD to move, you press F to interact with stuff, you press G to summon your vehicles. With control you actually do this dive so you can dodge enemies' projectiles. With shift you sprint, and when you press caps lock, you can change the view from left to right. And also you have gliding. So once you get up to a higher building and you want to glide down, you just press space to jump and then press space again, and you will see V, the bird, gliding you down to safety. It uses your stamina bar, so just be careful not to run out of stamina and just fall down to the ground. Now speaking of the stamina bar, you have these 4 little circles down below. And what do they mean? We already spoke about stamina. You can also increase your stamina by eating and drinking different foods and beverages. And next up we got sanity. This is something that you really need to keep an eye on because my sanity right now is a little bit low. And as you can see, I cannot get my HP to max. So the lower the sanity, the lower HP you can get. Now I'm going to demonstrate right now. I'm going to try and heal up, and you will see I cannot get any more HP. Now there's a few ways you can get your sanity back. Now if you're inside your house, what you can do is just use the bed and it's going to start giving you sanity back until it's full. If you're away from your house, you cannot get into the bed. There's another way you can get it back, is by using sanity gummies. You can craft those gummies over here, and they cost some sugar, logs, and boiled water. Now there's another way you can get sanity, is again with food and drinks. There's this drink over here called corn ale, which is gonna give you 1000 sanity. Now next up we got hydration. Obviously just make sure you have some water on you to keep the hydration up because it's gonna decrease your stamina. And finally we got energy, which is your hunger. It's pretty self-explanatory like hydration. Just keep it up because you're gonna lose your health. And there's a lot of foods that prevent that. And also they give you a lot of buffs. Now when you get settled into the world, you're gonna start exploring it. There's a lot of exploration you can do in this game, and the game actually rewards you for doing it. It gives you a whole bunch of experience just by exploring different areas. And it gives you a lot of rewards such as blueprints, different weapons, different armor, and also you get other different materials. And speaking of gaining experience fast, you can also do weekly quests. I showed it in my previous video, but I'll show it again right now. Now every major city will have that person that will give the weekly quests. It doesn't matter which city you go to, it's gonna be the same thing. So I chose Mayor's Market just for the sake of this video. So there's this guy right here in the corner, and he's gonna give you the weekly quests. Now those quests are super simple. It takes about 20 to 30 minutes to do them, and of course the experience will scale with your level. Let's say if you're level 15, you will get around 13 to 1500 experience, and if you're level 40, you're gonna get 15,000 experience. Now once you complete those 5 weekly quests, come back to the weekly quest giver and also pick up your rewards from the commission board. And as you can see, you got 6 weeks. After those 6 weeks are done, the game will reset. Now a lot of people and myself have been worried about the reset. They think that 6 weeks is not enough, which I kinda agreed at the start, but experiencing the game right now, I feel like 6 weeks is not as bad as I thought. I'm a casual player, so I played about 1 to 2 hours a day, and I reached level 50 in about 2.5 weeks. Now, speaking of the reset, your character will begin at level 1. You will lose all the quests and all the exploration progress, and also you will lose the weapons and the armor you've collected. Now, the things you will not lose are your blueprints and all the currencies that you've collected. Some of you might be wondering, why would I build a big house if I'm gonna lose it? Well, here's an option for you. You can blueprint your house. The only thing you have to do is just collect the same materials that you used to build the house. And also the furniture is saved inside it as well. So I'll show you how to do it. You press B for build. You right click on it, you go on the menu where it says house blueprints, and then you will see an option where it says add blueprint. You click on that, you press save all. You can name your blueprint whatever you want, and then you press F to confirm. And there you go, your house has been saved. Even the furniture inside, you can see it's saved as well. Now, when it comes to looting, my suggestion for new players is just loot whatever you find. Loot as much as you can. And if you think you're not gonna need something, trust me, eventually you will need it. And also make sure you have a disassembly bench. This is gonna be the most important part of the looting process, because once you're done looting all this crap, you're gonna go into the disassembly bench and you're gonna disassemble all that scrap that you looted in order to get all the helpful materials that you need for crafting weapons, crafting armor, and other stuff that you need as well. Now let's talk about the currency really quick. So this is called Starchrome, and you got energy links. Energy links, you get them by doing dungeons, doing commissions, and just exploring the world. It's pretty easy. Now, Starchrome is very important and you need it, and I'll show you why. So you have this thing called the wish machine, and you get it from your build screen. You go into facilities, you go to function facilities, and you will find the wish machine over here. Now, what this machine does is pretty simple. Well, it's gambling. You just gamble for different types of gear. Now, if you hate gambling and you don't want to just wait for something specific, when you press G, you can just buy the blueprint right away. You don't have to spend a lot of Starchrome just to get something specific that you really need. Now, other ways to get armor and weapons: exploring the world, doing dungeons, and doing silos. They start from level 15 and they go every 10 levels. So you got 15, 25, 35, 45. Those silos are basically like small mini dungeons that you can solo, and they give you a lot of experience, and they also give you plenty of loot. Also, like the dungeons, you have normal, hard, and pro mode. Now, for the hard mode and the pro mode, you will probably need more players because it's harder to do, but you get better rewards. Now, when you open the map, you're gonna see different monoliths. Well, these monoliths are the game's dungeons. Now, the way to unlock the dungeons is just by doing the main story quests. There are some dungeons you can solo, and there are some dungeons that you cannot. Now, the only issue I had was the level 40 dungeon, because I was level 30 and I tried to solo it, but the Shadow Hound was a little bit too much. And I asked someone from the community to help me out with the dungeon, and after 5 minutes of waiting, someone just invited me to the group. We queued up and we did it. We defeated the Shadow Hound. And this is one thing that I like about the community, is that everyone will help you out. You can ask any question you like in the chat, people will help you out. And also you have these helpful comments that people leave around the world. You'll see them in a form like a flower. Some people will give you helpful tips for the specific area. For example, I was looking for a key, I couldn't find it, and I saw this comment on the ground that someone put and said the key is right by the river. I went by the river, I found the key, and I unlocked the chest. So thanks to that person, I found the key and I got my loot. Now, when it comes to the combat, I gotta say it's pretty addicting. In my previous video, I mentioned that you have a lot of options when it comes to using your weapons, and they feel great. You also have recoil when shooting the weapons that you have to control. Otherwise, you're gonna miss a few shots. You can also mod your weapons and your gear. How you do it is just by pressing I to enter your inventory, and you right click on whichever item you want to modify, and then you will see the mods list, and you just equip it to the weapon. It's gonna increase your damage, and also you can upgrade your mods as well. Every time you get to a higher tier, it's gonna give you more and more bonuses. Now, one of my favorite weapons is the bow. I just love how silent it is, and also how much damage it does. If you do a headshot of an enemy, you can just one-shot them. Also, I found one more weapon that it's very fun to use in my opinion, and those are the throwing daggers. You can craft the throwing daggers just by going to the supplies workbench. And I gotta say, the animation for the daggers before you throw them is pretty cool. Before you aim, you swing the dagger and then you throw it. Oh, and also I forgot to mention that you can recover your daggers and your arrows from the enemies. It's pretty much infinite ammo if you can find it. Now let's talk about deviations really quick, because I think it's something important and it needs to be said. Now in the world you will see these floating orbs, and when you pick them up there's gonna be a companion inside. I like to call them companions because it's what they are. Now every deviation has a different trait. Some deviations will gather ores, some deviations will protect your base. You also have deviations that will help you with the crafting. It just depends on what you need. Now you store these deviations over here in a securement unit. Now also keep in mind that you need to keep them happy. Now you're probably wondering, why do I have this red light over here and this radio? It's because it requires it from me to keep the deviation happy. So the requirements for the environment: I need a red light, which I already have. I need music to turn on the radio, and I need electricity, which I already connected to my solar panel outside. Now that I mentioned unlocking stuff, we can go into the mimetics, which is going to be your skill trees. You have 4 different skill trees to choose from, and whichever one you go with, it doesn't really matter. Eventually you will get all of them. I guess it only matters if you're in a PvP server, because you would want to get more defenses, and most of the defenses are going to be in crafting. One thing I want to mention is that you would want to collect acid as much as you can. Acid is a very useful resource that you're going to use to craft different stuff, and also down the line when you unlock tungsten ingots, you're going to need a lot of acid to make it. Just collect as much acid as you can and put it in your chests. And also don't worry about the chests, because it doesn't matter if your whole inventory is in the chest. You don't really need the item in your inventory to craft with it. Let's say I want to make salt, but I have the seawater and I have the logs in the chest and not in my inventory. It doesn't really matter, you can still craft it, and that way you can free a lot of space from yourself so you don't go over the load limit. If you go above 100%, it's gonna start slowing you down, so keep that in mind. Now when I spoke about the controls, I mentioned that with G you summon your vehicles. Well, that's right, you have vehicles in this game. What you need to do is just build a garage, you put the parts in that you need to make the vehicle, and you can just craft it right away. Now keep in mind that the vehicles will eventually run out of fuel. The way you get fuel, again, is just by exploring the areas and getting the fuel from other cars that you see around the world. And also, if your vehicle gets damaged, the way to repair the vehicle is just going to your garage and repairing it from there. Now when it comes to bosses in the game, it doesn't matter if it's a dungeon boss or a world boss, sometimes you can cheese it, and by that I mean that the AI is not the smartest in this game. So just by taking basic cover or just running around the cover, sometimes the boss will not do anything at all, and you can just shoot them and just kill them like that. Now I know there are a few things that I forgot to mention, but those are the things you will learn on your own just by playing the game. I hope this guide helped you out and made your experience even better, because I believe this is one of the best survival games I've ever played, and it's free to play. Of course, Once Human has some bugs and glitches from time to time, but as we all know, no game is perfect, and I hope with the future patches they can fix them. And of course, it always comes down to personal preference. I really appreciate you guys watching the videos, liking them, subscribing, commenting down below. I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace.